This morning on Today's Health, your baby's eyesight. Most parents don't take their infants to the eye doctor, relying instead on their pediatricians. But starting today, parents will be able to get free vision tests from participating optometrists through a program that's called InfantSEE. Former President Jimmy Carter is the honorary chair of the program, and Dr. Scott Jentz is the head of InfantSEE. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you, Matt. Good to be with you.
Good to have you here, President Carter. Let me ask how you got involved in this.
Well, first of all, we have 11 grandchildren, and 2 of them have been afflicted with amblyopia, or lazy eye. And we really didn't even know it, although we have enough money to go to doctors when we want to. We didn't know it until they got to the first grade and had problems seeing the blackboard. And then it took us a lot of effort and time and to correct it. But if they had just had an opportunity to go to an optometrist in the first year of life, they could have been corrected, and they would never have suffered. So personally, we're very interested in it, and I want to express deep appreciation to, I think, 7,000 optometrists who have volunteered to give their time free of charge.
Yeah.
To let every young person in America a year or less in age have free examination.
It's extraordinary, doctor. It really is. I mean, there's no means testing for this. Whether you can afford to pay for it or not, you can get a free checkup. What exactly are you looking for in testing these infants?
Well, Matt, very few babies are born with eye disease or with a brain-eye disconnection called amblyopia. Babies develop from risk, and I should say develop troubles from risk. So what we're looking for are risk factors: an eye that might not be on the right line, an eye that might not move right, or worse yet, an eye that doesn't have the same setup in future prescription development as the other.
We have some video of infants being tested. One of the first things that comes to mind is that if I go to the eye doctor, I can tell him or tell her what I'm seeing, what I'm not seeing. Infants can't talk. How much of a challenge is that?
Well, we examine patients all the time who are nonverbal. Optometrists and ophthalmologists have the techniques and tools that are necessary to evaluate the eye and vision system without really having to be answering questions, which is better, 1 or 2.
You've got some of the special tools on the table right here.
We do. We have the ability for babies to follow these patterns as we separate paddles in front of the eye. We have special instruments that are somewhat like flashlights called retinoscopes that can tell us about the prescription of the eye without even having to ask the patient anything. So this is how we will assess infants, and it takes one more step to the valuable service pediatricians have already given with a pen light, with an ophthalmoscope, where they can detect very significant problems, but not the underlying and subtle things like President Carter's grandchildren had.
And President Carter, I want to go back to this because this is a great program. The headline being, again, though, this is free. You challenged Dr. Jentz and some other people. You said you didn't want this to cost the parents anything or the government anything. How hard was that to accomplish?
Well, it was easier than I thought. As a matter of fact, I made a speech to the American Optometric Association meeting in New Orleans a few years ago, and I called on them to start this program, and it's been a couple of years, but they have volunteered to do it themselves. So I think every parent in America ought to have a debt of gratitude to the optometrists who've been willing to donate their time free. And it wasn't difficult for us to convince them. I think they were about halfway convinced even before they heard me make a speech.
How do people, President Carter, find out which doctors are participating in this program?
I think Dr. Jentz can answer that better than I can.
Is there a website?
Well, through the Vision Care Institute of Johnson & Johnson Vision Care, we've been able to develop infrastructure like a website which launched during the birth of our program today. InfantSEE.org will be the way that we can locate doctors within your zip code or within up to a 100-mile radius of a parent zip code in America.
Former President Jimmy Carter. Sir, it's always nice to have you on the program. Thanks very much.
But we're very proud of the InfantSEE program.
I know, and Dr. Scott Jentz, thank you very much. It's an exciting program.
It's my distinct pleasure. Thank you for letting us have the birth of it on your show.
Absolutely. We're thrilled. And if you'd like more information on InfantSEE, you can check out our website at today.msnbc.com.